What if the man you just arrested became your boss? Imagine this. You pull someone over, convinced they don't belong in a nice car, only to realize too late you just arrested your own boss. Officer Brad Walker had been a cop for over a decade, but not for the reasons he should have been. He didn't see his badge as a symbol of protection or service. It was a tool of control. And who did he love to control the most? People who didn't look like him. If a black man was behind the wheel of an expensive car, Brad's first thought? Stolen. If a black kid walked too confidently down the street? Up to no good. And if a black man dared to question his authority, Brad made sure they regretted it. That's exactly what was about to happen, except this time, Brad had no idea he was making the biggest mistake of his career. A routine stop. That was anything but routine. It was a humid evening in Atlanta. Brad sat in his patrol car, sipping on a lukewarm gas station coffee, when his eyes locked onto a sleek black Cadillac cruising down the street. The car shimmered under the streetlights, pristine, expensive, and in Brad's mind, way too nice for the black man driving it. Behind the wheel was Jordan Cole, dressed sharp, humming along to the music playing through his car speakers, completely unaware that he had just become Brad's next target. Brad narrowed his eyes. Ain't no way that's his car. Without hesitation, he flipped on his sirens. The Cadillac slowed and pulled over. Jordan, sitting inside, let out a deep sigh. He had been here before. He knew exactly how this was going to go. But tonight was different. Tonight, he had just arrived in town for a major new job, and the last thing he needed was trouble. As Officer Walker approached the driver's side, he tapped on the window with a smug smirk. Here we go again. License and registration. Jordan kept his hands in clear view. He wasn't about to take any chances. Of course, officer, he said calmly. May I ask why I'm being stopped? Brad's smirk vanished. He didn't like questions. Step out of the car. Jordan frowned. Did I do something wrong? Brad's expression hardened. I said step out.
Now.
Before Jordan could react, Brad yanked the door open and grabbed his arm, forcing him out of the car. Jordan stumbled back in shock as Brad slammed him against the vehicle and began a rough search. You fit the description of a car thief, Brad lied without hesitation. Where'd you get this car? Jordan clenched his jaw, his patience wearing thin. It's mine. The registration is in the glove compartment. Brad let out a low chuckle, shaking his head.
Yeah, right.
Hands behind your back. Before Jordan could protest, the cuffs were slapped onto his wrists. Jordan exhaled slowly, shaking his head. You have no idea what you've just done. Brad let out a cocky laugh. Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing, taking another criminal off the streets. But Jordan didn't argue. Instead, he did something that shook Brad to his core. He smiled. You're making a huge mistake. Brad scoffed, shoving him into the squad car. He had no idea that his entire world was about to crumble. The arrest that ended a career. The police station was buzzing when Brad arrived with his so-called suspect. Dragging Jordan out of the car, he ignored the confused looks from his fellow officers. Officer Martinez, one of the few decent cops in the department, raised an eyebrow. What's the charge? Brad shrugged. Resisting arrest, probably theft. Martinez frowned. Probably. Before Brad could answer, a booming voice cut through the room like a knife. What the hell is going on here? Every officer in the station snapped to attention. From his office stormed Captain Reynolds, his face a mix of confusion and rage. But it was Jordan who spoke first. That's exactly what I was about to ask. Reynolds' face paled as he looked at Jordan. Sir, are you all right? Brad's brow furrowed. Sir? Reynolds turned to Brad, his voice now ice cold. Take those cuffs off him.
Now.
Brad hesitated. What? Now, Walker. Feeling the weight of his superior's glare, Brad fumbled with the keys and reluctantly unlocked the cuffs. Jordan calmly rubbed his wrists, still maintaining that same eerie composure. Brad's patience finally snapped. What the hell is going on? Reynolds took a deep breath before delivering the gut punch that would haunt Brad forever. Officer Walker, meet our new chief of police. Jordan Cole. Silence. The entire room froze. Brad's face went ghost white. Jordan took a slow step forward, his eyes locking onto Brad's. Nice to meet you, Officer Walker, or should I say former Officer Walker's? Brad's stomach dropped. His vision blurred. This has to be a joke, right? Jordan simply shook his head. Not at all. He folded his arms. I was just appointed the new chief of police.
And thanks to you?
My first official act is reviewing misconduct complaints. Reynolds stepped in, his voice sharp. Walker, your history of racial profiling is well documented. But this time, you messed up big. Brad's hands curled into fists. You can't fire me over one mistake. Jordan raised an eyebrow. One mistake? I have a feeling this wasn't your first. Officer Martinez suddenly handed Jordan a folder. Sir, we've had multiple complaints about Walker abusing his power. Jordan nodded, flipping through the pages. Thank you, Officer Martinez. Effective immediately, Brad Walker. You're suspended without pay, pending a full investigation. Jordan's gaze darkened. And, trust me, it won't end well for you. Brad's face burned with rage and humiliation. He turned to his fellow officers for support, but no one met his eyes. No one was on his side. Jordan stepped closer, his voice low but powerful. You treated me like a nobody. But you see, Officer Walker, justice doesn't care about your badge. Justice doesn't care about your prejudice. Justice comes for everyone.
And today?
It came for you. Brad had nothing left to say. He stormed out of the station, his career in ruins. Jordan turned to the officers in the room. Let this be a lesson. The era of corruption and discrimination? It's over. Anyone who doesn't stand for justice can stand in the unemployment line. The room erupted in applause. And just like that, Jordan Cole's first day as chief of police became legendary.